Javier, welcome to the show. Welcome back again. My favorite guest.
Again and again and again.
Yes. You have too much information, Jav. You have too much input. You have to be the most important guest of the Real Quick with Mike Swick podcast.
Am I like the first person you've ever told that to?
Yeah, for sure. You have too much information.
Oh, okay.
Too much information.
All right.
So how's everything going? How's your trip back and everything?
Trip's been going good. I'm in Las Vegas, my favorite place to be. Yeah, it's been great. We're in a house, two houses behind the house. You know, Habib's crew is up front, and I'm in the back with some of the other guys.
That's cool. So you're actually out of the bubble right now, like you're just chilling in Vegas.
Yeah. I'm not in the bubble. No. Being in the bubble sucks. You can't go nowhere. You're stuck. You're stuck in that hotel and just that little hotel, little whatever that is. It's just that hotel grounds, basically. Yeah. You can't really go nowhere. You got to order Uber food, and it's not the most comfortable situation to be in. And the good thing for me is that I have so many different fighters that are fighting. They're going to need my attention. So I'm going to try not to go in until the last day, which is allowable, going the last day quarantine, the last day, because I can't be quarantined during the time these guys are fighting because I have other guys that have fights too.
Right.
And I have to be there for their training. So I'm going to try to go on every Friday, which is great because that means I'll just come in Friday, take my COVID test, and the next day, then I'm done, then I'm out.
Yeah. That's why I was asking about the bubble. I didn't know. I can't even keep track of how many people you have coming up. So who's coming up right now? Like who are you preparing and who's fighting coming up next?
Well, I'm preparing right now. Islam Makhachev, he's fighting on March 6th. Okay. Umar, we're trying to get him on. He's not confirmed yet. Umar's Habib's cousin. And then Zubaira, not confirmed yet. Trying to get him on. And Abu Bakr, which is Habib's cousin, not confirmed yet. We're trying to work him on. Tahir is another one of his fighters. I don't know if he's confirmed, but he's looking to get on too. And let's see, and Usman, which is he fights for Bellator. He's fighting in April sometime. I hope April 2nd or 9th. I'm not sure which one. And then I have Lagoy Ivanov, who's fighting on March 27th. So I have that many guys fighting.
Well, all except the last guy. The cool thing is everyone listening to the podcast right now can just go back to the old podcast, and every one of those guys have been on the show. So I got that going too.
Yeah.
I got Habib's whole crew and Habib on the show, except Islam. Islam is impossibly on the show. Everybody wants Islam on the show. He is the number one requested guest, and he's impossible to get on the show.
Really?
Yeah.
I did fan questions with him the other day, and I said, I'm going to do some more fan questions. And he goes, I don't know, Coach. I don't know if I want to do fan questions.
He's not into this.
I said, okay. He's just he is, he's very charismatic, and it just depends, He's focused on his training. He wants to get to the top, and the guy is a beast, man. He's got it all down: timing, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, kicking, punching, strategy. He's got it all. He has it all. He has everything that's needed.
He's got personality. That's the thing, and I think it would show and help improve him. Obviously in a fighting world. I mean, Habib is an exception because Habib was shy to the camera as well and managed to become one of the biggest stars in the sport. But aside from him, and obviously Islam can do the same, but it seems like if he shows that personality, it would only help him. But let's just get back to Islam real fast. I know you said before that he's the next Habib. He has the ability to be the next Habib. Give me some insight on how he's doing now compared to whenever that podcast was, and how he's improving and what you see in his future now as far as being possibly the next Habib.
Well, I wouldn't call him the next Habib. I just call him the next Islam,
right.
which to me is the next champ. I think he has all the tools to be the next lightweight champion. And it's just a matter of getting by Drew Dober, which is no easy task. Drew is ranked higher in the rankings. He's not ranked lower, which he should be lower because he's really that good. But for us, beating a Drew Dober, which is what we're planning on doing, it's not going to do that great of a deal for us, only because Drew is ranking is too high. If he would have got RDA like originally scheduled, that would have been a good one, because then they would have put him in the top 10 at least, you know.
Yeah.
I would say top 7 for damn sure if he would have beat RDA, which I believe he would have. But anyway, so this fight here is just another fight. It's not going to move him up in the rankings like he deserves, but maybe it'll get other people to fight him. The biggest problem we've had with Islam isn't so much that he's not willing to fight anybody. No, there's nobody in the top ranking wants to fight him because he's too much of a risk.
Right.
I don't blame him. I don't blame him. It's like, why fight him when you can fight somebody that's not as tough that you get more reward from? Why fight somebody that the reward's not so good? You know, so that's the problem with him, is he's that good. He belongs in the top 5, in my opinion, and because he's not in the top 5, he's too dangerous of a risk.
I think if he wins, in a dominant fashion in this fight, he'll put himself high enough that these guys are going to have to say yes. They're not going to be able to say no like they can now, just because he's lower ranked and he doesn't have that recent dominant win, which he will possibly have after this fight. So I think at least a dominant win will put him in that position where he'll at least get a big fight, and those guys will quit, running from him.
Yeah, because if I'm not mistaken, or I could be wrong, it could either be his. If he beats Drew, it will be his 7th win in a row,
right,
or his 9th. I don't know if he's on an 8-fight win streak or 6-fight. I might be confusing him with Leon Edwards, who's on an 8-fight win streak. I think Islam's either a 6-fight, I don't know, 6 to 8-fight win streak. He's definitely 6, but he might be 7 or 8. And after Drew, he'll be one more.
And that's what I meant by another Khabib. I don't mean literally Khabib, but I mean just like another guy that comes up and with that similar style and fortitude and just smashes everyone. But yeah, I mean, I think this is going to be a good fight either way it goes. But I see what you're saying. It's a risky fight. It's good that y'all took it. At least he's active. He's staying active, and he's proven he wants to fight. He's not being picky. A lot of guys do that, and then they sit around and they get passed up. So at least he's doing that. What about Umar? We haven't talked, I think, since Umar's fight. What'd you think about that fight, and how is Umar doing now? Obviously, he's probably pretty happy.
Yeah, Umar, he fought on the same day as Khabib made his debut, January 20th, and he finished with the same choke Khabib did in the second round.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. So he did something that Khabib did, and his debut was more impressive than Khabib's. Way more impressive. But Umar's Umar. Umar's not Khabib.
Yeah.
He's a different set fighter. He's more of he's more of a kicker. Got beautiful kicks. Boxing needs to be worked on some more, but overall, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with, and I expect him to be, the bantamweight champion of the world within 5-6 fights. I really do. I can see it. I can see him being the champ. So 2-3 years, he'll be the champ.
Yeah, that's what's cool about these guys too. A lot of people mistake. They think, Khabib's crew is all like Khabib. They're not. They're very different. And there's guys that are dominant strikers, that obviously have the same wrestling pedigree, but they go out there and they strike, and they have a fantastic Muay Thai. And then they're very versatile. All these guys are good in their own way, and they're all winning, and they're all doing good. So it's cool, that whole crew in general. It's just very unique.
Yeah, none of them are him. Not one of those guys is Khabib. Not one. Because Khabib is Khabib, Umar's Umar, Islam is Islam, and that's just the way it is. These guys are different, and they have their own mark they're going to make. They have their own legacy, and they're all going to be successful. I really believe that. I believe that, Umar will be a champ. I believe Islam is going to be a champ. I believe Usman, who fights for Bellator, I believe he's going to be the Bellator champ, and I think the sky's the limit for so many more Eagles team fighters that are coming up the ranks. And then can't forget about the AKA guys too. We got a bunch of AKA up and coming hot prospects too. So, the future looks very bright.
Yeah, absolutely. And just going back really fast, what is without being strategic, what is your official kind of breakdown and prediction of the Dober fight?
I just think we have to be basically very, very careful about his strengths and take him in deep waters and drown him, and that's what I think we need to do. He's very good striker. He's a good fighter, man, period. I don't really have anything negative to say about him because he's really good all the way around. We're just going to have to do what we can do to drown him, and that's it, but he's good. He's good. He's definitely more deserving of the ranking they have him.
Yeah. And then his fight camp for this fight is in Vegas. Is that his first time that he's fought or had a fight camp in Vegas, and how's that going? I mean, how is it different than San Jose or Dubai?
Well, this is his second one because when he was fighting RDA, he was in Vegas training.
Okay.
Even though I was in Dubai, he was in Las Vegas training here for that fight and I was going to join him later. And so yeah, he was here training before he got sick with the mumps and then he was out. So this would be second camp. In all honesty, there's nothing better than AKA at home training.
Yeah,
there isn't. It's just a better scenario for us, better situation. Everything's better for me as a coach. I had everything I needed there, everything we needed there. The structure was there. Here it's not structured. Sometimes we don't know if we're going to train here or we're going to train there. And there it's like a set pattern all the time. And consistency is important. And here, consistency is not something I can guarantee you. Like tomorrow, well, where are we going to train? I don't know. Are we going to train the PI? Are we going to train Extreme Couture? I don't know. You know, and that's the thing, you know, sometimes we don't know. We get changed around, and that's something that's definitely different. And I don't like that. I like consistency, you know, and set patterns. And, you know, and I think that's what actually does great for people is when you're consistent, you know, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, you know, we're always consistent and we follow the steps, and that's the success model. But when you start changing around, well, one day we're doing this, next day we're doing that, next day, okay, we can't do this, we can't do that. I mean, it changes everything around. I don't like inconsistencies. I like consistent type training.
Do you know if they're doing anything different with the audience starting in the Apex? Are they going to start allowing like at least VIPs or certain people in, you think, or is it going to stay the same? Because I know they're doing that. Obviously, they did in Dubai and in the Super Bowl, stuff like that. They're starting to allow crowds.
I think from what I know, they're still keeping it the same. I mean, because of the pay-per-view event, they became even more restriction on us. They, you know, I wasn't allowed in the Apex one day because I didn't have my present COVID test, so they wouldn't let me in. Even though they knew I was supposed to be there, they wouldn't let me in.
Right.
And that's the way it should be, you know. I mean, they have to follow those rules. They can't, we know you're okay. Hell, how do they know? You know, even though I've been vaccinated, that doesn't mean I can't be a carrier. I could still be a carrier, you know. So even though, you know, I won't get it, but I can be a carrier. Or what if I catch the second strain that's out there?
Yeah.
You never know, right?
It's crazy. And speaking of that, you're vaccinated. Obviously, you got vaccinated in Dubai. Somebody that we both know that was supposed to be coming here actually to work for me here in Thailand had a complication from a vaccine, and he got a blood clot in his lungs, and now he was in ICU for a couple of days. Now he's still struggling, but he can't do anything for 6 months. Have you had any complications from your vaccine, or has everything just been smooth sailing since you had it?
Smooth sailing since
Nothing?
I've had it, in confidence. I was even more confident than ever once I got the second shot. And, you know, I got the Chinese version. So when I went and got vaccinated back in, when was it, 4 months ago?
Yeah. I think so.
4 months ago? Yeah, about 4 months ago, right? Yeah, it at that particular time, there was over 500 million people already in China been vaccinated.
Wow.
They had the vaccine. They've had the vaccine in January, I was told. They started vaccinating people in China in March.
Of course.
So when we got closed down, they were vaccinating people in China.
Shocking.
So they had the Chinese vaccination. And I don't know. I just kind of think it's probably the best one out there. I haven't heard anything bad about it.
Well, I mean, they came from there, so I assume they'd be the experts. And I'm not surprised to hear they've been vaccinating since March when the whole world's been suffering. So, well, it's good to know that you at least don't have any kind of side effects from that. So let's go to...
No side effects.
So Manel's fight, our guy Manel came, AKA Thailand came to train with you guys, had a fight with Pantoja. It was a good fight. It was a real good fight. What were your thoughts on that?
Well, when I first watched it, I said, what the hell is he doing? He's not active enough. I go, he's letting this guy, clearly the more talented fighter was Manel by far.
Yeah.
But he let that other guy just overthrow him, you know, technique this, even though nothing was super landing. And the thing about Manel, he's so fast. He was landing better technique, but he was so fast you really couldn't tell. So the other guy was more active, and he wasn't landing like he was, but he was more active, and that's what hurt him. But then I saw Manel 2 days ago, and he was explaining to me that he was slipping all over the place, and that's why he couldn't do nothing. And then I thought about that. I went, damn, he's right. He was slipping. I didn't even pick that up because I never heard of anybody slipping in the octagon like he was. But apparently, he slips a lot. He slips a lot because his feet get wet, and I've never heard of that before. But he does, and it showed, and that's why in the third round you notice he came on stronger. And if any round he won, it would have been that round, even though one judge didn't give him a round. But I thought he did win that one for sure. I thought. I think you're going to see a better Manel in the next fight because he's going to figure that problem that he has, and he's going to come out stronger than ever. I mean, he never got hurt with anything. Not one thing landed on him. He's clean as a whistle.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with him, So, it was one of those deals where his body beat him and his mind beat him, not the opponent.
Yeah.
Although the opponent is as tough as they come, but that's my assessment. It's like he beat himself.
I was surprised at how fast and good Pantoja was. I mean, he was better than I thought he was. But at the same time, I agree with you and every single person that I've talked to since that fight, and they've all said the same thing. Manel was a better fighter and should have won the fight. And it's one of those things where it's probably frustrating for him because he showed his speed, he showed his technique, he showed his movement, he showed his cardio, he showed his obviously his defense. I mean, he didn't get hit with hardly anything. It's hard to tell. When you got guys snapping at each other that fast, Pantoja was missing a lot, and Manel was connecting a lot. But you can't see it. And even when Manel was connecting, sometimes you had to rewatch it to see it, or vice versa. They're swinging so fast. And sometimes when you punch somebody and you hit their glove, it makes a noise, and so you just assume that it connected, but it didn't. It was blocked. They're hitting the gloves. Yeah. So it's one of those things where I still feel Manel landed more strikes. He got the takedowns, but like what you said, the octagon control and the pressure, and then with Manel slipping and not being able to move forward as much as he should have, that lost him the fight for sure. According to the judges.
Definitely, that's what lost him the fight. That was the only issue. The other guy was super tough, as tough as they come, but Manel just couldn't get going, And had they gone 5 rounds, you would have seen a better version of him in the next 2 rounds because he was starting to get the hang of it. Yeah. And also that was being the first fight without shoes. Remember, he's fought with nothing but shoes, so first fight without shoes, so that was a difference too for him.
Yeah, he always wears shoes in every fight, all of his rising fights. And I didn't even think about that. When he was talking about the slippage, I was trying to figure that out. And then now I think about it, he's always wearing shoes, even in training. He wears shoes in training sometimes, or if not every time, and then also when he fights. He's very comfortable wearing shoes. So he's always used to like a very, very grippy stance. And so even a little slippage will throw you off a little bit, I guess. And that's why he can change angles and move so quick and so fast because his feet are like – he's got like frog feet, they stick to the ground. But at least he showed that how good he was. He definitely showed how good he was. I think there's going to be a situation now where it's going to be tougher to get him a fight that's going to propel him forward because anyone above him is not going to want to fight him. He's going to have to take a fight probably with somebody behind him now, which is going to just kind of establish him as a winning fighter. Then he's going to have to take another fight to climb the ranking, and then another fight to get him back, in the top 5. So I think that's kind of the position that he's in right now, and then that's hopefully, you're right. Yeah. That's not even guaranteed, even that. But that's the downfall of showing how good you are, but yet losing the fight because now you're stuck. He would be fighting top 5 guys right now if he had got that nod, but because he didn't. Now he's going to be fighting guys in the lower end because no one at the top is going to want to fight him, and they're going to have a valid excuse because they're going to say he just lost. Why would I fight him? And then that's a legitimate excuse. Yep. When in reality, they see that he's fast and scary.
Yeah, they don't want to deal with that. I don't blame him. If I had to fight him, I wouldn't either.
Yeah, no, he's a dangerous fighter for anyone in that division. Did you happen to catch Volkov's fight versus Overeem?
No, I didn't. But someone asked me who I thought would win, and I thought Volkov would win. It was based on the strikes because Overeem, as great as he was, he's not as great as he was.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
Not anymore. He got dominated. I mean, bad. Like it was a pretty bad domination. Not just one strike or anything like that. And what's crazy is Volkov actually trained at AKA Thailand. When Volkov first got in the UFC, he came and trained, I think, for his whole first camp, or at least the majority of it, at AKA Thailand. And then he moved on. And then so much time went by that it's almost like we kind of forgot that he started, his UFC career kind of at AKA Thailand, training in Thailand, or at least for a good part of it with our family. So I just reached out to him and I'm trying to get him on the podcast now. He's worried about his English. He speaks English, but it's not as good as he would like it to be. So he's a little worried about that, but I'd like to get him on. But he's going to be a force.
Just have a translator.
Huh? Yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to try to get a translator just to make it like we did with the Khabib's guys. But he's good, and he completely dominated Overeem. And it was a dangerous, powerful Overeem. But you're right. It's not the same Overeem. And Overeem's got to consider, he's in his low 40s now. He's got to consider that this is, it's kind of the end of the road for him, I think.
Didn't he retire?
I don't know. I saw the fight, but I didn't see any of the aftermath. So maybe he did.
I don't know. I thought he was retired, but I don't know. He may not be.
Maybe he did. Yeah, that makes sense. He should.
I don't know if he did.
He should, because he was dominated the whole fight. He couldn't get off anything. He was like almost running from Volkov kind of the whole fight. He was beating him to the punch every single time, every connection. So, it was pretty crazy. What about Usman and Burns? This fight coming up. The interesting thing about this fight is, Usman obviously seems like a beast, especially cardio-wise. Burns, and then Usman is a beast as well in the same area. But a lot of the instructors I heard that trained with those guys formerly said that Gilbert can actually beat Usman, and that he used to actually submit him and actually beat him in the gym. So this might be an interesting fight, between these two, because it's going to be just a nonstop action fight.
Yeah, if that's what they're saying, he used to actually beat him in the gym. That definitely it makes it interesting. Doesn't mean he'll beat him in the real fight,
right.
but it definitely means that it's a challenge. It's definitely a challenge. I don't know who's favorite, but I don't know Burns, but I do know Usman. And for me, I'm picking him to win because that's who I know and that's who I like, and will he win? I don't know. Does he have a tough fight? Heck yeah, he does. He's got a super tough fight. But I want him to win. So, because I know him. That's the way I always do it. If I know somebody, regardless of whether they're expected to win or not, I want them to win. So, but I kind of think he's going to win. I really do. I think he will win.
It's going to be a good fight. And I think that's the best fight to make right now, just to see who's at the top. And, I give the edge to Usman. I'm just going by what the previous coaches said, but you know how it is with coaches in the gym. There's a lot of favoritism, and there's a lot of hate usually when they're called previous coaches. There's a reason why they're previous coaches, and it's usually not a good story. So there could be all kinds of politics in play there.
Yeah, you could talk to all his ex-coaches, and they're going to say, oh, this and that. But then you go talk to the current coach that's trained Usman, and he's going to tell you a different story. So what's the real story? You know what? We won't know. We'll find out fight time.
Yeah, true. I have a super serious question for you, Jav. You ready for a super serious question?
Yeah.
Did you know that Manscaped is the best below-the-waist men's grooming product on the market? Did you know that?
No.
You're not a Manscaped user?
I know they don't sponsor me, so I'm not Manscaped.
What? Oh, this is the time.
I'm not sponsored by them.
This is the time to get you a sponsorship, Jav. This is the plug. This is the plug. This is the plug to get you a sponsorship, Jav. You should be using Manscaped, the best below the waist men's grooming product on the market by far. Essentially engineered tools for your family jewels. That's what they are.
Well, they need to hook me up with my family jewels. I don't know. It's a jungle down there.
Listen, I know you're not usually probably outside in the dark when you're trimming, but they do have a flashlight on the lawnmower trimmer that is fantastic. I will say that.
Do you do it? Do you do it with the water running?
No, it's just like a clipper. Well, they have many products, but the main one is the clipper, and it's called a lawnmower, and it's a clipper. It has a plastic blade, so it doesn't cut anything. And it has a flashlight, and it is actually, believe it or not, like I'm not even bullshitting you, as a game changer. It really is.
So, but you can't do it in the shower, like with the razor blade.
Oh, I'm sure you can't. Whoa, razor blade. Wait, what are you talking about? Razor blade? I'd never even think about a razor blade.
I've done that. I've cut myself a few times.
Oh, yikes.
Well, actually, quite a bit.
Well, that's crazy. But yeah, so for those listening, if you use code QUICK, which makes sense, right? Code QUICK. You get 20% discount and free shipping, and they are available in Europe and Australia now, Hav. So we need to talk to Manscaped about getting you a Manscaped sponsorship and they can send you a package. They'll send you a care kit in the beginning, and trust me, you will be a fan. It is a game changer.
Well, I don't know what I'm a fan of. They haven't sent me nothing.
Yeah, we got to talk to them.
Contacted me, so I don't know. Manscaped, you're missing it. There's a jungle out there.
All right, Manscaped. Yeah, you got to send Javier a package and sponsor him and his podcast and all these great videos that he does. Guy's got 1 million, billion, trillion views on all of his videos with Habib and all those guys. And we can get the whole team on Manscaped because it is a game changer. And just to follow up, manscaped.com, MANSCAPED. Now I'm messing up. I've never done the commercial with a guest before, but I thought it'd be funny. But MANSCAPED.com. Use code QUICK, 20% off, and it supports the podcast. So definitely go there and check it out. And I do use it as an absolute game changer. I'm going to make sure they send you a package. I'm going to talk to Kyle today, and I'll get him a package sent to you at AKA. When are you going to go back to AKA? When are you going to go back there?
The end of March.
End of March?
Yeah, you need to send it. You need to send it to Vegas.
I'll get your address in Vegas. Send you a package to Vegas. It's a game changer. So let me ask you real quick. Speaking of trimming your nether regions, what do you think about the Jake Paul and Ben Askren? I know you have some input on this, but I just had Ben Askren on the podcast. We had a great podcast, got a lot of views and a lot of feedback. It's obviously a big topic right now. I shared my opinion on why I think Ben Askren has an advantage, aside from everybody just looking at the fact of who's the better boxer. There's a lot more to play when you're talking about an Olympic athlete who always finds a way to win against guys like Douglas Lima, against guys like Robbie Lawler, against guys who are some of the most vicious strikers in the world, and a guy who's very limited on his own striking. He's still found a way to win in a sport where we've seen many very, very, very good wrestlers fight strikers and not be able to find a way to win, and they get knocked out, and they get a concussion. So he's a man who finds a way to win. He's a man who has a work ethic that's going to be like nothing Jake Paul's ever had in front of him. So we shared a little bit difference of opinion, or not difference of opinion, but shared a little insight that a lot of people aren't taking into consideration. What are your thoughts on that fight and how it's going to go down?
Well, you hit it on the nail. Ben Askren is a multi-level athlete at the highest level, and not just wrestling, and MMA. I mean, this guy is a high-level jiu-jitsu guy. He's high-level in so many different areas, that you can't ever count him out. As a boxer, he's not much of a boxer, but as a fighter, he's a big fighter. And sometimes you don't need to be a boxer to beat a fighter. You have to be a fighter, and Ben Askren is a fighter, so on the technical side and the better boxing, Jake Paul's got that all day long. The power side, Jake Paul. The speed, Jake Paul. The size advantage, Jake Paul. The experience in boxing, Jake Paul. But the actual fight, at that world level competition, Ben Askren. So if Jake can't put him away, he better be able to have enough energy to save himself past the 5th, 4th round on up. Yeah. Because if he cannot put Ben away, he better be able to last the last 3 rounds. Because if he's not, he's going to drown. Because Ben will drown him, and it's a situation where it's a guy that knows how to wrestle, the guy knows how to play dirty boxing really well, versus a guy that just knows how to box, that doesn't really know how to play dirty boxing. Jake Paul does not know how to play dirty boxing. So if Ben can come out there and play that game, then he's got a great chance. If he can't get Jake Paul into a dirty boxing scenario, it's going to be a long night for Ben. I favor Jake only because of the size and the fact that he's been boxing and training boxing, and he's got really good coaching. And BJ Flores, who's himself an ex-contender, heavyweight contender, he's trained really well. And, he's specifically ahead of the game as far as, Ben. Ben hasn't been boxing, and, he's been fighting, but he hasn't been boxing. So I give the edge to Jake Paul because of that reason, but don't be surprised if Ben drowns him.
I think the drowning thing is what's going to happen, in my opinion, because I think people don't consider when you get into a combat sport, a fighting sport, especially with a high-level athlete, like a really high-level athlete, not like a basketball player or a video gamer. I'm talking about like an Olympian, a guy who's been in there and fought and thrown punches. with the best of them, it's a whole different fight. And for me, in my experience, when I got in there with Loazo, when I got in there with Joe Riggs for the first time, when I got in there with these guys that were real experienced and had a lot of like fights, just that aura, that different the different mentality going in there, it drains you automatically. Your adrenaline's going, and it automatically zaps your cardio a notch down just being in the octagon or being in the ring with someone like that. Then when you start going, and I think Jake Paul's key to victory is to get a quick knockout and try to knock him out and put him out fast using that, what you said, that reach and that size advantage and his boxing technique. I think when that doesn't happen, if it doesn't happen, that's going to really mess him up some more. That's going to play on his mind some more and knock him down another notch when he can't hit Ben, or he hits him and it doesn't knock him out because Ben's been hit with 4-ounce gloves. I mean, look at the beating he took from Robbie Lawler. I mean, he didn't get knocked out from that, and Robbie Lawler hit him with freaking 100 punches with the 4-ounce glove and every other thing you can imagine, and he was still fighting and still managed to win the fight. So to think that Ben Askren's going to come out there with a 10-ounce glove and hit him one time and he's going to fall down is just, in my mind, is ludicrous. And so now you're looking at composure, and you're looking at how strong his mind is and how he's going to, his comfort level in the ring. And you just don't have that when you're 2 fights into a career, especially when you're fighting guys at that level, basketball players and video gamers. You're not going to be in there and be composed and relaxed and conserving your energy and moving around. You're going to be like a ball of energy, like I was, like everybody was when they first started out. You look at these guys with 2 or 3 fights, it's always like the first guy that connects wins, because these guys are going like 100 miles an hour to try to win the fight. And I just think that if he somehow manages to hit him on the chin in the right spot, he can win the fight. But if he doesn't, like you said, I think he's going to get drowned. He's going to get completely drowned. And I think it's going to be a worse loss than Nate Robinson. It's not going to be like a one-punch knockout. It's going to be like a non-technical punches coming at him from Ben Askren, and he's going to be running and exhausted and breathing hard and cowering down and covering up, and it's going to look way worse to me than it would be to just get hit one time and fall down, running away from somebody who's just pounding you out and they're fresh and you're exhausted.
It could happen that way if he doesn't know how to relax and go past the 4th and 5th round, staying in a relaxed state. If he freaks out, like you're saying, if everything you're saying is going to happen, then he's going to lose and he's going to get drowned.
Yeah.
My hope is, not my hope, my thought is that BJ Flores is such a hell of a coach, and he knows what he's doing, that he's going to prepare him for all that. And if he can prepare him for that, slow him down, don't be in no rush, take your shots, outpoint him here and there, don't go for the KO. If he does that, it'll be a one-sided beatdown. If he does that. If he does not do that, then I could see him getting drowned in the later rounds. Not earlier, the later rounds, because he'll be too strong early. And but the later rounds, I can definitely see him get drowned if he can't learn how to pace himself and go past the 4th and 5th round.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And if he can listen to BJ and actually take that advice, I agree with you. But he would have to go against every single instinct in his body, because being inexperienced as he is, every instinct is going to be exhaustion, panic, adrenaline, confusion if things don't work out the way that he expects by running out there and knocking them out. So he's going to have to go against every single instinct in his head and to stay composed and to stay relaxed and to do what BJ says. And if he does that, hats off to him.
But you got to start it now. Yeah, you got to start it now. You got to tell him now. He's got to start now. You got to start now. You got to start that mentality now, because you can't wait for the fight to start. It's got to be now. He's got to train them now on how to relax and how to not let yourself go too fast. Slow it down. Be in control. Control them with your jab. Control them with your power shots. Just stay relaxed while you're doing this. Staying in the pocket, getting out of the pocket. All those things are very important for him to do in a relaxed state. And I believe that BJ Flores is that type of coach. I watched him a little bit, and I was very impressed with the way he was training Jake Paul. So that one advantage that Jake Paul has is a better coach than the other guys do. I'm sorry, but he does. He's got a good coach, man.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times you got a good coach who's been with you, and he's been with you a long time, in training you got an advantage. And on top of the fact he's been boxing longer than Ben, he's also got a coach that specifically focuses on boxing. That's an advantage too. when you're a good coach, and he has a good coach.
And the downside from talking to Ben, like I'm obviously rooting for the MMA guy in this fight, but the downside from talking to Ben is it doesn't really sound. I mean, Ben's a world-class athlete. He's going to get his training in. He's going to find the right help that he needs. But it sounds like, as of a week ago when I did the podcast with him, it doesn't sound like he has his plan yet. He doesn't really have, like you said, Jake's got his coaches. He's got great coaches. He's got obviously all the money and the facilities that he needs, and he's using them, and he's training hard. It doesn't sound like Ben has everything set up yet. It doesn't sound like Ben has the coach yet, and doesn't have the program yet, and he's kind of just winging it, and that scares me a little bit on the side of rooting for Ben because. And then I'm gonna ask you one more thing too, from your experience. So I had to get over my composure problems and all that stuff by myself before I actually had a coach that would work with me and actually teach me boxing and striking and stuff like yourself and whoever else I was with before you. I was already kind of past that beginning stage of what I'm talking about with Jake Paul, where you use all your energy, you're fired up, and you gas yourself out. Do you think in a case like Jake Paul, because he has so much assets and such a great trainer from the beginning in that lower level like he has, can he learn that and get over that, you think, in sparring by having the right sparring partners, put that pressure on him and him having to get used to that enough that he can actually go out there and be composed at such a small quantity of fights? Or do you think that's something that he just has to get from fighting?
No, he can get that through sparring in the gym, and having the right sparring partners, putting the pressure, the right coach, and telling them when to relax. And a good advantage for him is that Ben's not a hard puncher. He's one of those kind of guys, he hits you, go, oh, he hit me.
Yeah.
But it's not one of those lights out type punches. So you're going to have a lot of opportunities to come back at him. So it's not like, one shot and you're done. Now, but on the other hand, it could be one shot and he's done if Jake catches him properly. I mean, that boy got power, man.
He does, yeah.
I watched him and I said, you look at his Instagram and he has a bunch of videos in there where he's knocking people out. And let me tell you something. In all the years I've been involved in the boxing gym, 30-something years in and out of the boxing gyms, I've never seen that. I myself have never had that many guys that I have videos of, doing that. Never. Yeah. So this guy here has got some serious power is what I'm saying. So if his coaching staff can get him relaxed and not go too crazy where he burns out in the first 3 rounds, man, we're going to see. It's one of those fights that, it's very interesting because you just don't know. You don't know who's going to win. Like, for instance, Logan Paul and Mayweather. Come on, give me a break. 0-2 versus the greatest boxer of all time. Yeah. You lost to nobodies, and now you're gonna fight Mayweather. Give me a break. Who wants to see that?
I think they postponed it.
Nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to see something like that. I don't even care.
Yeah.
But you know what? If Jake Paul fought Mayweather, if he gets by Ben Askren, I might be interested in that. But again, we're talking about the greatest boxer of all time, probably. So even though he's still past his prime, he's still the greatest boxer. He still has so much in the tool, and even though size is a difference, but not when you're that great of a boxer. Size doesn't really mean much.
Yeah. No, you're right. The moving around and speed is the key, and that's where Floyd is obviously better. But yeah, I agree with you 100%. And I think that fight's postponed, which pretty much I think means canceled. I don't think people are interested because they try to pre-sell that fight and they probably didn't sell anything.
Well, when you got Jake Paul fighting Ben Askren, and all of a sudden you got Floyd fighting Logan, I'm sorry, but all of a sudden that went like out the door.
Yeah, I'm way more interested in Jake Paul.
What's more interesting is Jake Paul fighting Logan Paul than Floyd fighting Logan Paul.
It's a win-win for everyone.
In that, the two brothers, and these two guys are crazy enough to do it.
Yeah, I don't know if they would actually, but maybe they would.
I think they are. I think they're crazy enough to do it. I think so.
I like Logan. Actually, I like Logan the best, but I think he's insecure about his boxing because of his record, and he's obviously he's a big guy and he's okay, but I think that 0-2 record is going to mess with his mind. But Jake Paul seems to be, in his mind, he's a savage, so that's a good thing to have. And like we say to AK, he doesn't know how to lose yet, That's important. When you mentally don't know how to lose, that's an advantage. And Logan knows how to lose twice. He doesn't know how to win. That's the problem. So he's going in with a serious mental disability. Whereas Jake Paul, he doesn't know how to lose. All he knows is when the fight's over, both times his hand was raised, and that's what is in his mind. And that's a huge thing to have in your mind.
And he annihilated the guy. You see what he did to that Nate Robinson guy?
Yeah,
my gosh.
He did.
I mean, that just like no competition. His power was just too much.
Yeah.
You know, and obviously he can't come at Ben Askren like that because he's going to gas.
Yeah.
Can't do that with Ben. Cannot do that. That's where Ben's going to drown him. If he comes at Ben Askren like he did Robinson, Ben is going to drown him. I'm sorry. You're not going to come at Ben Askren like that. You better pick your shots. You better slow it down. You better just take your time because you're trying to go haymaker on him like that. Because Ben Askren is like, people forget, that guy can take a punch. You know, people think, oh, well, you know, he got knocked out by Masvidal. Well, that was a freaking flying knee.
Yeah.
And he went into it, you know. It's a whole different story of someone, you know, hitting him at the knee where he's not going into it. He went into it. That's like a two trains colliding type thing. So that's why. But no, Ben Askren could take a shot, bro. So don't expect him to get hit one shot and be out, you know. I know anything's possible, but I wouldn't expect that.
It's going to be a fight, and three things to back you up on that is first of all, Ben's got footwork. You know, boxing footwork and wrestling footwork is different, but wrestling footwork is still footwork, and it's movement, and it's getting to and from your opponent, and it's getting to and from your opponent in a position where you can control your opponent. He knows how to move. Number two, he's hard to hit. You know, he's had a career where he's been trying to avoid getting hit because he's not been a striker. So he's an expert at not getting hit. And number three, he's got the same gloves as Logan Paul, the 10-ounce gloves, to hold up and Muhammad Ali, George Foreman protect himself. You know, just cover up and let him blow his load and get exhausted and then come back and get him later. Yeah. So for those three reasons, those are things that Jake's got to think about that he can do that's going to slow him down significantly if he blows his load.
Well, think about the other big one is the dirty wrestling,
and that
there's nobody better than inside clinching and grabbing and punching, rabbit punching than wrestlers. They're the best at that. And if you don't know how to work with that, you'll get tired.
Yep.
And he can drown you. He won't get tired. He can pummel all day long with you like that. But Jake may not be able to do that. So he is going to have to learn to stay relaxed, pick his shots, don't be in no hurry. Do not be in no hurry, because if he's in a hurry, he could get drowned.
Yeah,
he could get drowned, you know. And I favor Jake, but I'm not going to be shocked if Ben pulls it off. Not at all.
Yeah. No, that's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one. That's exhausting, the clinch work, and especially if he's getting clinched and punched in the face the whole time before they break it up. He takes 2 or 3 punches every time. He's going to be getting frustrated because he's going to hate every time they clinch up. He's getting moved in positions he's never been in and getting punched in the face, even though they're not hard. So yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. So we can agree on that for sure. And then real quick before we go, I want to talk about obviously we're setting up a licensing company for AKA, so we're already kind of rushing one gym that we're working on right now in India, but we're going to get started here in the next few months. And so anybody interested in possibly having license deals with AKA for an AKA gym or products or whatever else, info@akathailand.com, and we will give you some information on how we can get started with that. And I think that's very exciting, and I'm happy that you're finally agreeing to do that, and we're pushing this forward, and we're going to start building the brand globally.
Well, it's only because you were gracious enough to accept the president responsibility, where I don't have to do anything. You have to do all the work.
I like work, but it's going to be a lot.
You're the boss. You can't talk to me about nothing. All you can do is say, "Hav, I did this, I did that." Okay, you don't need my permission. It's like you're the boss. You know, that's the reason why I did that.
I already did one, so that's pretty good.
You did one, and more to come.
Actually, I did more than one. I did more than one because we did the America gyms. We did the America gyms too. So we got like 5 gyms in America, 4 or 5 gyms in America, considering the headquarters. And then now we got one global gym that's going to be starting in March next month. So at least we got that started. And then we'll wait and put a pause on it until we get everything 100%, obviously set up in the next few months. And then we're going to be full speed ahead.
Yeah, a good friend of mine told me about the one in India, the one you just did. He said that's one of the nicest resorts in India.
Yeah.
Like beautiful. So So they have a beautiful AKA in India. Where was it at?
It's in Goa. It's Mandarin Beach in Goa.
Mandarin Beach, Goa.
Yep.
Yeah, I heard it's the nicest place over there for vacation. So I think that one's going to be a super successful gym.
Yeah, they're building it now, so I'm watching all the updates and kind of giving insight on the build and the construction, and obviously I have experience with that with building AKA Thailand. So it's cool. It's cool watching it go up, and it's kind of cool watching a gym not just buying the license from us and becoming a licensed gym that's already built, but it's kind of cool. The first one that we're doing is actually in the building stage, so we can kind of watch it be built and be grown and have some insight on it, and then see as it opens and actually runs and follow the progress. So it's kind of a cool first one for me, actually, considering I had to do the same thing with AKA Thailand from the ground up, and I went through what I went through. I'm watching somebody else have to do the same thing as I did, and I'm trying to help them, but I'm also kind of reliving that experience, which is fun. It's fun when you build something, you know, and then you know, it's better to build something than to take something over. And so it's.
You know what? They just had in India. They just had the ONE FC Championships was there a few days ago.
Oh, really?
And I heard it was a huge success. Huge success. So there's a big market for MMA in India and Pakistan. Pakistan and India, big market for MMA. It hasn't been explored yet. It's starting to get explored. They're hungry for it. So I would expect to see Pakistan with AKAs. More India AKAs. Remember, India's got 1.4 billion people.
That's a lot. I don't know how many, but it's a lot. But I'll tell you what.
It's a lot.
There's
so
something.
You could do 100,000 AKAs.
Yeah, I hope so. There's something going on in India for sure, and it's happening like at a rapid pace because we are getting more and more customers wanting to come to AKA Thailand from India. We just got a payment yesterday or day before yesterday, a huge payment. A guy paid for a year of training at AKA Thailand in the middle of a pandemic. And we've got many other people that are in the process of working out their visas because India is a tough country to get a visa from. So Anshul Ali and everybody's working out visas for them to get them here because it is harder. But there's something going on there because not only are people inquiring about getting gyms, which we have the most inquiries almost of any country from India, but also people coming to train at AKA Thailand from India. There's a huge boom going on there, and I don't know who's responsible for it. Probably ONE FC is helping, but there's definitely something going on there because we have never had this many messages from India, and it's becoming a huge, huge deal over there.
I think a lot of it has to do with Khabib in that region. He spreads out through the Middle East. I think the number one most important person that's brought awareness MMA is Khabib. Because you remember the UFC, they tried to do the India thing. They went to India. They were going to set up a UFC India, and it didn't work out. They bailed out because there wasn't enough fighters. I knew the guy that was involved in it. He said there was not enough talent there.
Oh, okay.
So they pulled out. It was too early for them. But I think now's the time. Now's the time to bring MMA to India. And they have a league over there. As a matter of fact, one of my friends, he's meeting one of the promoters from India. Tokir is his name. He's going to meet with them. So we may be in talks with them about how to do joint ventures.
Cool.
With India MMA and stuff. So we'll see. But it's a big market. It's untapped. The talent is what needs to make it grow. They need to have a lot of Pakistan and a lot of Indian fighters that are good. World-class level, and I think they have all the ability to have that. They just need the platform. They don't have the platform, and once they have the platform, I think the rest is history.
There's nothing like 100 AKA gyms in India to get them started, get them to that higher level. So I'm gonna be working full speed ahead on it, as you know already.
What's up, everybody? I am here in Thailand. This is the first time I've ever been here. Been dying to come here for years. Mike Swick, he's one of the big reasons he's been trying to pull me down here. What he built down here, AKA Thailand, is incredible. There's people here from all over the world. You can train mixed martial arts here, jiu-jitsu. They have weightlifting, they have cardio, and obviously they have Muay Thai, boxing, everything. I'm telling you guys, I know everybody wants to go to Thailand because Thailand's so cool, but you can't come to Thailand without coming to AKA Thailand. Come on.
Hey, did you tell me about the Queen's Gambit last time we had a podcast?
I might have. The Queen's Gambit is the chess lady. It might not have been me, but I've seen it.
I want to say it was you, but it took me forever to actually take the advice because I'm like, come on, a girl playing chess. Like not that anything against girls, but it just didn't make. I don't like chess at all. Like I mean, I know it's a smart person's game and whatever, but it just seems kind of boring for me. And so I was like, there's no way this is going to be interesting. And then a girl playing chess where it's just going to be, the storyline is like, oh, it's a girl and it's a male-dominated game, blah, blah, blah. Fantastic show. Freaking fantastic show. So you did great. You did great on that. Have you seen Kingdom, the show that is now on Netflix with Frank Grillo and Nick Jonas and that?
Yeah. Kingdom, yeah, I've seen that.
Pretty damn good, right? It's like raw.
Yeah, it's a hell of a show. My only problem with the show is that they all have drama.
Yeah.
Why is all MMA people have to have drama and druggings and this and that? Yeah, but
it's
it's
true.
I was a coach. I wasn't a drunk. I was none of that stuff. So many people that I know are involved in that. Why these guys got to be such a train wreck,
But it inspires me.
I don't know.
It inspires me to be a drunk. I want to be a drunk coach like Frank Grillo now. So I'm gonna start drinking more.
But, think about who was good and who was a good person in this damn show.
Not many.
Nobody. They all
got problems.
Nobody. They all had skeletons. Every single one of these guys. Not
like
one of them was
like
a good
everyone.
One. Not one. It's like, and I'm like going, damn. I got sick of it. To be honest with you, I got sick of it because I'm going, man. What, is there not going to be a happy ending with somebody here?
Don't tell me. I'm only on season 2. Don't tell me the ending or anything.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was with and she already watched the most or a few episodes ahead of me, and I was really surprised because she talked me into watching it. She's like, "You got to watch it. It's about your sport, blah blah blah." And it's like the thing is I hate I hate fighting shows. I hate fighting movies because they're so fake. It's like I love Channing Tatum, but he's like running through subways and then he fights. There's no training. There's no they skip all like the real stuff.
This one's
it's more.
Look, this one shows reality.
Yeah.
This one's more reality of everything. But it's just my only issue is the train wreck of reality.
Yeah.
And I'm not showing everybody has to have a train wreck. Instead of being normal, they got to have some people normal. Everybody have to be a train wreck. Everybody.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, that's like depressing.
I'm super into the show now because of all these issues, but I will say when I first started watching it, when I started seeing all those train wrecks, or at least some of them, everybody didn't have a problem, but at least, they were showing some of them. I was like, wow. I was thinking of like Rich Crunkleton and how he acted and how he was crazy and like all the guys from our team in the past bunking up in one hotel room and like sleeping on the floor and the tub flooding because Crunkleton's taking a freaking bath and falls asleep and the tub floods the whole room and we're sleeping on the floor. So I started thinking about that in the first few episodes. I'm like, damn, this is actually a real, like this is a true to life show about fighting. Like this is actually really good. And then I kept watching it. And it's just slowly progressed into like, now I'm having to tell, okay, what I said is not 100% accurate. It is not exactly like this. Like we're not all heroin users and like, doing all this. It's a little bit too much, but it is more real, I think, than a lot of these other shows. And so anyway, I just thought, any other shows that you have for me before we leave?
No, Man's Plan.
Man's Plan.
Yeah.
What is that? Why are you laughing?
It's with that guy from not Cheers. What's that? Joey from not Cheers. What is it?
There's a Joey on Friends.
Friends, yeah. Joey from Friends. He's got a Man's Plan.
Okay.
I like Joey. It's a family movie. I love it. It's really good. It's a Man's Plan. It's on Netflix. It's Netflix. It's 4th season. I'm on the third season right now, but I've been watching nothing but that. There's a lot of episodes, like 20-minute episodes. Like I'm on 30-something episodes now.
Holy shit. That's a long show.
Yeah.
Well, cool, Hav. Always good talking to you. And thanks for doing the podcast again for like the 8th time. And great insight, great input. Hope everything's good in Vegas. Seems like America's pretty crazy, but you're handling it pretty well. You're vaccinated, so everything should be good for you.
Well, in Vegas is very good, bro. I mean, any restaurant.
Really?
Casinos are open. Yeah.
Well, that's nice.
Just no crowds. Weightlifting gyms are open. Like California, different story. We're still closed. My gym's still closed, and we're underwater, and no income, no money. No, they won't let us open. Which I don't understand this whole policy of what they're doing. Some states they don't even wear masks, and some states everybody's out doing whatever they want to do. But here in California, they're all shutting us down. But Las
crazy.
Vegas, man, every restaurant's open. Most of the casinos are open, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, to keep the economy flowing, you need to have that, but we'll see.
Yeah, we're slowly getting back. Like they're slowly opening the borders to vaccinate or quarantine. You have to do a 2-week quarantine. So we're getting like our 3-month, 6-month, and 1-year customers. So it's not near as many as everyone, but at least we're on the upswing. We're getting more customers every week, every month. So at least we're getting better every month instead of worse, like we were up until November. November was the worst month ever. I don't think we made anything in November hardly. Except the people that we had here.
Yeah.
It was the borders were completely closed down. Nobody was pre-booking. And then now it's getting a lot better, and we're starting to get a lot of pre-bookings, and we're starting to get a lot more customers coming in. And so hopefully it gets better. And hopefully in California, they open the gyms. That's crazy. I can't believe that there must be a lot of people that lost their jobs already. I mean, like that have lost their life savings and their jobs.
Or their businesses. We're close. We're close to losing everything too. We're
crazy.
Still surviving, but it's kind of like, 300,000 in the hole, and no income. How do you manage to pay $300,000 to keep a gym open for a year with no income coming in? That's pretty hard.
It's crazy. Fuck. Well, I hope the best, and I hope that they change the rules and get that fixed. Man, that you got to move to Vegas.
Yeah, something will happen.
That's the answer.
Well, I'm gonna move to Vegas at some point. Even if I move to Vegas just to move to Vegas to avoid the extra tax, the state tax, which is a big deal, So, yeah, I would like to move to Vegas just because of that alone.
Yeah.
And plus I love Vegas. I love Vegas, so I'm good here.
You're going to have like a 3-card table in your house. I know it.
Believe it or not, I haven't done that much gambling at all. I've been here 3 weeks and
really
only a day and a half of it. That's it. Yeah. And I still love it just the same.
But it was probably a day and a half straight. That's the thing.
No, it was like 5 hours. And in one day, and then today I did like 1.5 hours, 2 hours, 1.5 hours or so.
Well, that's good.
It's all good.
But it's good to relax a little bit. I'm sure it's good after being in Dubai. You can actually gamble and relax and clear your mind a little bit.
Yeah, Dubai is beautiful. It's the most beautiful city in the world, the cleanest city, safest city, but, I love here too, So I love Dubai. So it's not like, anybody who hasn't been to Dubai needs to go to Dubai. It's an experience, that's for sure. Hospitality, everything over there, customs. I mean, it's somewhere to see for damn sure. Damn sure. Just, it's definitely a destination I think people need to go to.
All right, Hav, I won't take any more of your time. I know you're in Vegas. You got things going on. Thanks a lot for being on the podcast. I'll text you, I'm sure, tonight, and we'll have another off-record podcast. But anyway, I appreciate it. I'm sure everyone else appreciates it, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right, buddy.